What's up, everyone? Retro Leo here with another comic book review. Today I'm gonna kind of do two in one. I'm not gonna really talk about this first one a lot, as there's really not a whole lot to it. But I know this came out like 2 weeks ago. Amazing Spider-Man, Sins Rising Prelude. But I just got it in the mail today. My comic shop didn't get it again, so I had to order it. Basically, this book is the setup for the new Spider-Man art, Sins Rising, and basically this just tells the story of the Sin Eater remembering all that he did, from his growing up to moving to New York, killing Jean DeWolf, and he remembers him dying, and he goes to hell. And basically Kindred has said it's time for you to come back. And so that's all I'm going to say about this one, because that's about as simple in space as you can get. You don't have to read this if you know who the Sin Eater is. I know he killed Jean DeWolf. That was about all I knew. So I read it, and it was alright, but it is not a must-have. So for the second book today, I'm going to be talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 45, Part 1, Sins Rising. And I got this Wednesday, but I didn't want to read it until I got to read the prelude, because I thought it would be important to the story. You don't have to read the prelude to understand this. So anyway, here we go. As the book starts, we're getting a narration from a woman who's talking about how she always wanted to be like her father, who was a cop, and then everything changed the day that her father died in a car crash, and as soon as she graduated from high school, she signed up for the police academy. So we then find out that she fell in love with Peter Parker, and she found out he was Spider-Man, and then she also found out her father wasn't really dead, and he had just got in really deep with the villain Mysterio, and she actually ended up taking some goblin serum, I believe. So she crap, what's this girl's name? I had never heard of her. So anyway, after she becomes the Goblin, she says that she was going to get out of it. Carly Cooper, that was her name. And she, after the Goblin thing, she decided she was going to get out of all that, but she comes back as a forensic division scientist. So she's observing a dead body, and she goes to pull the tarp back, and then we cut to then we just get like a blank screen basically, and then we get into the actual book, where we see a king talking, and Peter's like kind of just being like, I haven't slept well, and you see a little scorpion thing, Kindred climbing on his arm there. And you see a picture of Peter in the audience, and he's falling asleep, and he's like, this Shakespeare in the Park, but I wasn't meant to be alone. MJ was supposed to be back. I had it all planned out. I had this romantic dinner booked at the fanciest restaurant, and then I was going to take her to her favorite thing, Shakespeare in the Park. And he said, but that wasn't the best part. The best part, and then he's like, oh, just forget it. And he's like, I didn't want to come alone, but everybody's busy. My roommate's out watching our little monster pet. Robbie is out with his supervillain girlfriend. Aunt May's at a feast thing. And he's like, ever since MJ left, I just feel so isolated. And then his spider sense goes off, and a car comes flying down the road, and Peter's like, whoa, wait a minute. I dreamed this. What's going on? So he's like, okay, gotta snap out of this. People are in danger. And he runs down the alley, and he turns into Spider-Man. And he gets on the car, and he knocks on the window, and he's like, excuse me, sir, do you know how fast you're going? And the guy goes, "Oh, thank God it's you." And he's like, "Well, that's not the response I expected." And he's like, "Look, you need to stop." And he's like, "I can't. If I stop, he's going to get me. I can't slow down. Every time I stop, I can't go fast enough to get away from him." And Spider-Man's like, "I've dreamed all this before." And so Peter, the driver's like, he's right in front of me, and then the Sin Eater appears in front of him, and the car crashes, and Peter shoots some webs and saves 2 kids and gets them out of the way, and he's like, they're safe now. So Peter goes over to the crash and helps the guy out of the car, and he's pulling him out, and he's like, "You shouldn't be helping me." And so Peter decides, well, we'll go into this garage, and then he makes a little joke saying, "You know this is a bad idea. Mary Jane made you watch all those horror movies. We're going into a dark garage." And the guy goes, Overdrive, I believe is his name. Must be a low-class villain. Overdrive's like, "Spidey, you gotta believe me. I didn't want anyone to get hurt." And Peter's like, "What did you get yourself into?" And then Peter hears a voice saying, "You should give him to me, Spider-Man." And Peter's like, "I don't want to believe it's him." And he's like, "With all the bad guys I fight, and the ones that die, and the ones that come back, I was hoping he would stay dead." And then the Sin Eater reveals himself. And Peter's like, "This guy even tricked me. And when he tried to kill Betty Brant, I lost it, and I nearly killed him, and I probably would have if Daredevil hadn't stopped me." And he's like, "I can't let it happen again." And so Peter's like, "That's really you, isn't it, Stan?" And he's like, "I see you got your badge on." And then he sees it says DeWolf, and Peter just loses it and goes in head first. And the Sin Eater hits him on top of the head with the gun. And Peter's like, "I always find a way, no matter what my villain has done to me or has hurt somebody I love, I always find a way to keep that anger bottled up inside of me." But Peter's like, "With this guy, I can't do it." And he doesn't know why. So then we get another flashback, and it's Peter says, after the Stand was institutionalized, they said he was no longer a threat. But then he held a kid at gunpoint, and he baited the police into shooting him. And Peter's like, "It's something I've tried to bury, but now it's at the front of my mind, screaming at me." And then the Sin Eater headbutts Spider, and Peter's like, "It's just slowing me down, everything that's going on." And so Sin Eater's basically just saying, "Just give him to me. He's committed sins." And Spider-Man's like, "You're just a murderer." And he's like, "Why don't you just ask him what he did? Ask him about the policeman that he killed." And Peter Parker, Spider-Man goes, Wait, the police killings? They said they didn't have any leads." And then the senator's like, "Who's the fool now? He'll never face justice. He's a coward." And so Overdrive starts running for the car, and the senator pulls his rifle out and he fires. And Peter tries to jump in the way, but it misses him, and it kills Overdrive. And so Peter says no. And so he runs over to Overdrive, and he's like, "Hold on, it'll be okay." And he's like, "You believe me, don't you, Spider-Man?" And he's like, "Yeah, I believe you. Just relax, okay?" He says, "It doesn't matter. I'm not scared anymore. And it feels good to stop running." And then he dies. And then, so he dies in Spider-Man's arms. Spider-Man turns back around to confront Sin Eater. And Spider-Man's like, "I'm guessing you want to do this to me now." And he's like, "No." He says, "The one who called me will be the one. He has a plan for you too. I'm just made the path ready to the path. I'll see you soon, Spider-Man. The Sin Eater disappears. And so Spider-Man just stares down at Overdrive's body, and Peter's just like, things are just going to get worse, because I can't shake the feeling that something else is lurking out there. And then he shows a picture of Kindred, and he says, the Sin Eater is back, and wherever he goes, death follows. And then we cut back to the dead body that Carol, I'm sorry, y'all, I don't know her name. Hang on. Carol Cooper was examining, and now she's like, what? The bullet hole's gone. It was here just a minute ago when I saw the body. And then the eyes open, and he's like, what happened to me? And I believe this is the guy that was driving the car Overdrive, I think. Kind of hard to tell with he had a suit on before, but I'm pretty sure that's who that was. So this is a good start. I really enjoyed this, so can't wait to see the rest. I know in issue 50 they've done said the Green Goblin's returning, so it'll be interesting. What's really interesting to me is that Spider-Man fights all these villains, and this guy's just a guy with a shotgun, like literally, and he can take down all these villains, but this is the one guy that seems to always get away and traumatize Spider-Man the most. So pick it up. It's definitely worth it. Until next time, y'all. See you.